Yes, this is a huge question. We'll probably go on all night. Do you believe in God?
I believe in the power of goodness. I believe that there is this wondrous power that is there, which we can all and are all part of. I do not believe, as I was taught to believe as a child in the evangelist movement, in an individual being, a God which is all powerful and all superior. I believe the essence and power of goodness is within each of us. And so therefore it behoves us, and I think this is one of the reasons that we are here, as I think I mentioned earlier, is to become more of who we truly are. And who we truly are is a part of what is termed God. And so I think this wondrous thing that links us all together in this great power of love and healing and positive thought, etc., is what I term to be God. Don't believe it.
So it's a big energy.
But also, if you believe in an individual God, then you're immediately separating yourself from this being. Mm. I believe that the God is within, and part of our journey is to become more of that God-like being.
This would be quite hard for some people to take on board.
Yes, I appreciate that, and particularly if people are used to going to church and thinking of God as an individual which is outside of themselves. And I believe that when they speak of things like sin, the only sin is to be separate from God. God is within, the God within. Mm. And the more we become spiritualised, if you like, and in our thinking and in our actions, the more God-like we become. Mm. But obviously I believe in this great power that is surrounding us.
On the subject of mediumships, a lot of people go to see a medium to have their future told. What's your take on that?
Well, I always say to people, look, I'm not a fortune teller. I have nothing against fortune tellers, and I think that some of them are really good, and I think there are times in life when someone needs help in this physical world. They really do need somebody to say, I wouldn't do that if I were you, but if this pathway... And that's helpful. But because I've always been a medium, I tend to work on a different vibration. I don't give what I feel. I have to make my link first to know who it's coming from. So I wouldn't necessarily say, look, in 6 months' time I think this. I would say, your father is telling me. Yes, and so I'm keeping my link, because without those spirit people there, I can do nothing. Now, if people have the gift of being able to tell people's fortune, that's fine. I just don't happen to work in that way.
Because you're a specialist in survival mediumship. Oh. I used to call them the hawkers of hope.
Yeah. I mean, of course there'll be times when one's working, when things will come regarding the future. It might say, look, we're talking about March next year, when your father is saying blah, 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 because they can't run our lives for us. They've had their life. But they can be invited in when you say, oh, I really need some help. And they just like to be able to show you the way. But
and leading on from that, Jeannie, because I know you personally, I know you had a premonition or a feeling something was going to happen around 9/11?
Well, it wasn't actually a premonition. What happened was, as you know, I paint.
Yes.
And this particular day I was on my own. I think Graham was studying, and I went into the art room and I thought, oh, what am I going to paint? I just couldn't get any inspiration. I thought, I've done enough huge big flowers and things. I really didn't know. So in desperation, I thought, rather than put all the paints out on the palette, it was watercolours, I chose 3 separate dishes, and I put yellow, orange and red, and I thought, I really was frustrated not knowing. I'd already got the paper soaking. I shook it off, shaking the paper. And I thought, oh, fed up with myself. So I just poured the 3 pots over, just thought, well, I can't do anything with it this way. I'll go inside and I'll have a sandwich. When I returned, it started to dry, and there were just 3 places on the paper, 4 I think, that the paint hadn't covered. 2 were together like that, 1 here, and then a fairly large one down here. And I thought, it looked like a face is appearing to me. So I just kind of filled in like the eyes and mouth, and I have never written on a painting before except my name, obviously, when I finished. So I got this 1-inch letters, and I wrote the word war. I thought, that's funny. Anyway, I left it. We then had to go to Wales for the weekend, but I was coming back early to do an evening with friends and some catering, etc. And whilst I was in Wales, I bought some paints. I thought, I'll take these out to the art room. And this picture by now is standing, drying on the board. Meanwhile, 9/11 happened, and President Bush kept saying, this is an act of war, this is an act of war. And as I walked in, ooh, this leapt out of me. And it looks very much to me like a fireman. Okay. Judging by the way the colours have gone with the hat and some red blood and the eyes and that, looks like a fire. So that's really what it was. It wasn't that I had a premonition as such in my head.
It's just that you did that, maybe something that was hitting people. I also know, because you talk about your art, I know, and I've seen and had lovely gifts of your karmographs. Can you explain a karmograph and how your mediumship and your artistic work allows you to produce karmographs for people?
Well, many years ago I was teaching a group of people to do auragraphs and to do readings. And
that's the colours, right?
That's the colours in the aura and how to interpret them. And I got a bit bored myself with that. So I decided to get up and do one, but to use it as a karmograph. So I was picking up on past lives. And so with the faculty of mediumship, I do the picture, which is really an abstract, and then from my knowledge of colours and with the faculty of mediumship, I'm able to link in to give you information about a past life, but to also link it with this life. So it may be someone in that past life has now reincarnated into this life. And if you had a problem, then that problem is still there. I might say something like, I'm linking to a life here in, Kent or France or wherever. It's, 1800 and you did this or you did that, and you have found that in this life, however hard you try and whatever you do and get on bended knees, you cannot get a good rapport with your mother or whoever the person is. And the reason for that is because in that past life, when you were two brothers or sisters or whatever, explaining that obviously the soul is without gender, only the body is the gender, this is what happened. And it's very therapeutic, obviously, to know, now I know why that person has treated me so badly when I don't seem to have done anything. No, you haven't done anything in this life, you probably did
something pulling your strings beneath the
and
surface.
when I've demonstrated it, I've done the pictures in the morning because it's very messy working with chalks and things. Got a minimum of information, like, lady sitting in the back row wearing a red dress.
Oh, so you do them in advance of...
in the morning, if I'm going to demonstrate them in the evening. And I usually do 3, and I'll say, right, who's this one for? And the voice in the head will say who it's for. And spirit are never wrong. I remember working in Bath Road Church in Bournemouth on a Saturday night, and I'd done them, and the last one said 2 ladies sitting in the back row, one wearing black and one wearing a black skirt with a white top, and that's where you have to go. And I got a few other details, like knows the name of Doris or whatever, I can't remember now. Anyway, I got in there, and as soon as I picked the microphone up, it sort of didn't exactly fall apart, but I knew it wasn't right, so I handed it to somebody, and I was standing there just saying, won't be a moment. And I thought,
they're not
there's
here.
nobody in the back row. But then the doors, which they had closed promptly, opened, and 2 young women came in, dressed as I said, black and white. And I thought, well, this will be very interesting to see where they sit. So I just said, oh, please do come in, sit wherever you like. And they sort of looked around, walked straight down to the back and sat in the back. Thank you.
So that's huge evidence. So this is survival, isn't it? Which is how we opened.
Yes.
Well, thanks, Jeannie. That's wonderful. I think you've covered a real eclectic range of questions there.
Thank you very much,
It's a pleasure to interview.
Thank you,
Jeannie.